Hey, this is Carla from the Butcher Babies.
This is George Cortland Fisher from Cannibal Corpse.
Hey, this is Rex from Kill Devil Hill. It's Wednesday 13.
This is Jazz from Devil Driving.
This is Motorist from War. You're listening to Rabid Noise
on Rabid Radio.
Turn it up.
Welcome back to Rabid Noise. That was Hot Traveller from Failure's latest album, The Heart is a Monster. And joining us on the program now from the band is the legendary Ken Andrews. Great to have you on the show, man. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure, man. It's definitely awesome that your new album has just been released, and it's such a killer album, man. And you're going to be touring on it on the Soundwave Festival down here, which has got everyone really excited. Is this the first time that Failure have actually been to Australia?
Yes, it certainly is. We're actually really excited about that. Kelly, our drummer, has been there with another band before, but I don't think Greg and I have ever even been to Australia at all, so we're super excited to come down there.
I guess first time for everything. You got back together a couple of years ago, and you've recently, as we mentioned, released your first album in 18 years, The Heart is a Monster, which is just a brilliant album, man. How was it reconnecting with the other guys musically after that time?
It was strangely easy. It was, there was a lot of trepidation at first, like that it wasn't going to be easy and that maybe it wouldn't be that great. But as soon as we actually got in the studio and started making music, all that kind of fell to the side and we just got busy making new music.
That's awesome, man. It sounds like you guys just didn't stop. As you said, you just sort of fell back into it, right?
Yeah, we were together for 7 years in the 90s, and, you develop a certain rapport with people when you're together in a band because you're together so much and you have to do so much together and kind of cooperate together and deal with each other that when it came time to do this reboot, it was like, even though that much time had gone past, it was sort of like putting on, a favorite old jacket or, something like that, where it's just like we stepped right back into those shoes.
That's awesome, man. Of course, I was saying before, I love the new album, and the title's awesome too. So what inspired you to call it that?
That was a title that Greg came up with, and I think it was, just kind of based on just trials and tribulations of life, basically. And just how the heart is ultimately in control of what people do. And sometimes it's, that's a tough thing. I don't know. I'll just leave it at that.
Well, I dig the title and I dig the album. It's definitely kicking ass, man. And I can't wait to hear some of those tracks live. Well, we're going to go to the track Sergeant Politeness from your fantastic Planet album now. And we'll be back very soon on Rabid Noise. Hey guys, just want to take a minute to give a shout out to our podcast supporters, RW Promotion, who are the best in the business when it comes to printing posters, flyers, banners, badges, business cards, you name it. They've got what it takes to help you get everything you need to help spread the word about your band or business. And with a blistering turnaround, they'll make sure you get your product ASAP. So get in touch with Richard and the team at www.rwpromotion.com.au or shoot them an email at info@rwpromotion.com.au. Also want to give a shout out to the guys at Blacklight Art and Design, who in my opinion are the Gold Coast best screen printers. So, we've gotten many band shirts and even our own Rabid Noise shirts done through these guys. And they've also got one of the fastest turnarounds I've ever seen. So all quality prints at competitive prices. So whether it's band merchandise, sporting teams, promotional garments or workwear, they've got you covered. So hit them up at www.blacklightad.com.au or email them at info@blacklightad.com.au. So big thanks to those guys for helping us to bring you this podcast each and every week and for, of course, supporting the metal scene. So now it's back to Rabid Noise. And we're back with Ken Andrews from Failure now. You've been on tour with Jane's Addiction recently, right? Or are you still on that tour?
No, we did like maybe a week or two with them, maybe a month ago, or maybe it was shorter than that, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's kind of blurry once you're out here for a couple months. But yeah, that was good times. That was fun. I think our fans, if they hadn't heard of us before, were their interest was piqued by our show. So it was definitely a good crowd for us.
Have you found that a lot of bands that you used to tour with back in the 90s have been hitting you up for big tours since you got back together, like Jane's Addiction and bands like that?
You know, we did a bunch of touring with Tool back in the 90s, and they were kind of like friends of ours. We actually were, I remember meeting Maynard in 89, I think, actually. He came to one of the earliest Failure shows and just introduced himself as someone in a band called Tool, who we hadn't heard of, that were playing shows around L.A., same as us. And they were looking to, package the show themselves so they could, like, kind of have some control over what kind of bands were on the bill. And so, he kind of asked us to do a few club shows in Hollywood with Tool way back then. And that continued throughout the 90s. We did a bunch of touring with them. And then it just kind of happened again. Last year we did like 10 shows with them, sort of on the west coast of the U.S. And that was an awesome experience. They, of course, got much bigger since the last time we had played with them. So, yeah, it was fun playing to like 25,000 people.
The Tool fans and obviously your fans would probably I find a lot of the people like listen to the similar sort of style of music, so they would have loved you guys, even if they probably knew you because Maynard's talked about you many times. So it's
a lot of those fans knew of us, and some of them hadn't heard us yet, so that was kind of cool. But yeah, it was for a lot of people, it was kind of like finally connecting the dots of, this band they'd heard of before. So, it was fun.
That would have been awesome, man. Well, your music has been so influential. A lot of bands talk about Failure as being a heavy influence, like, of course, Perfect Circle. I hear a lot of your sound in that, Deftones, Filter, heaps of bands. There's probably 100 more bands to mention, but, some of them have actually recorded versions of your songs. Has there been a cover that you've heard over time that really impressed you?
Well, yeah. I mean, they all kind of have been interesting in their own ways. I think a Perfect Circle cover of The Nurse Who Loved Me definitely surprised me the most when I heard that, because it was such a kind of radical departure from the version that we did. So I was like, whoa, this is cool. And then I got to actually play a more kind of closer to a Failure version with a Perfect Circle when they were on tour. They took another one of my bands out called Year of the Rabbit as a support band, and I got to play a couple songs with them, including that song, The Nurse Who Loved Me, live with a Perfect Circle.
Must be a real buzz, man, when other bands are keen to jam on your music, you know what I mean, and have drawn influence from that as well. Must be such an amazing feeling, man.
Yeah, it definitely is kind of an honor, really, to have people embrace what you're doing so much that they actually like the cover. So, yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, you're probably sick of this question. You're probably getting asked a lot since you've just released an album, but can we expect more Failure albums in the future?
I think so. I mean, it's a little hard to say right now because we've just kind of started touring on this one, but the whole comeback is feeling pretty good, and we're getting the response that we have on the new album has certainly made us think that another one would be something that people might like. So we'll see.
Oh man, definitely can't wait. And of course, Soundwave. Seeing you guys at Soundwave. Expect maybe some side shows. Is there talk about some side shows?
I've heard talk of it. I don't know if anything's been finalized, but I'm sure our management team is going to want to make the most of our trip down there. So I would look out for that.
Yeah, I'm definitely keen. But of course, you guys will need a few days off so you can go explore what we've got to offer here.
That's what I'm really looking forward to, because like I said, I've never been down there, so I'm looking to spend some time down there.
We're going to go to the track Atom City Queen from The Heart is a Monster now. Thanks so much for hanging with us tonight, man. And, of course, we'll see you and the guys at Soundwave.
My pleasure. Looking forward to it.